Many people wait until they have enough money to invest and they, struggle to make ends meet, and yet they say they can't invest, they need to make more money first. Yet they get a raise or something and then they end up paying bills with the raise. So if one doesn't have enough disposable income, they need to reduce their expenditures just to have a little money to invest. If you wait until you make more money, you're not going to end up investing and you're going to die broke. Naturally, if you don't invest anything, you're not going to get any return and you're going to end up with nothing in retirement. And if you're relying on Social Security, well, that's not going to be enough. So, suppose you start with $1,000 when you're born. So, if you're born, I hope your parents put some money away in investments for you. And suppose you're earning a 10% return. And the reason why I say a 10% is because on average the stock market earns 10 to 12% over time. Some years it's a little higher, some years lower, but on average around 10 or 12%. So when you're born and you invest $1,000, you end up with over $500,000 when you retire at 65, assuming you retire at 65 and not before or after. So that means a simple, measly $2,000 investment will give you over $1,000,000. Now, what if you waited until you're 18 to put $2,000? Then by the time you're 65, you end up with less than a fifth of what you would have earned if you invested 18 years earlier. If you wait until you're 26 to invest, you end up with less than half of that. So consequently, investing when you're born is, or even a lot sooner in life, is much better. Now, suppose you invested $2,000 when you were born, or your parents invested for you, and for 10 years after that, your parents are investing $2,000 a year. So every year, as you can see I have in the green, you put $2,000 extra over what your gains, and you're earning 10%. By the time you retire, you would have put $22,000 and you would have earned over $7 million. That's correct, over $7 million. Now, if you waited till you're 18 and you put $2,000 and you invest $2,000 a year until you're 25, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So that would be $16,000. You'd end up with over 1.1 million. But what if you waited, nobody invested for you, you waited till you finished college and you end up putting 2,000 when you're 26 after your first job? You would have to invest an extra 2,000 a year, earning 10%. You think about that, you'd be putting, for 40 years, you would be putting $2,000 a year and you would have less than $1 million. So as you can see, the earlier you invest, the better off you are in retirement. So now let's say your parents decide to put $5,000 when you're born. Earning 10%, you would have over $2.5 million in retirement. If you put 10,000 or your parents put 10,000 for you when you're born, you would end up with over 5 million. Let's keep the numbers simple and say your parents had you and they don't have a lot of money, but you got money in as birthday gifts when you were born, in the baby shower, and your parents were smart enough to put that in for you in a retirement account or investment account earning 10%, based on what the stock market does. And let's say every year for your birthday you get enough in gifts. So the first 10 years, you're adding 2,000 to that. And then let's say, when you're 18, you start getting a job and you decide to put a little money and you end up putting 2,000. And then by the time you're 26, you skip a year of investing and then you end up putting another 2,000 a year until you retire from your own income. You end up with nearly 10 million. and you would have probably put only about 120,000 or so, between what your parents invested for you and you. So as you can see, the earlier you invest, the more money you end up with in retirement and the richer you become. So do not wait and say, oh, I need to earn more money to be able to invest. Now is the time to invest. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you found it useful, and happy investing.